Hello and welcome to Granada Reports, live with the latest news across the northwest.
Hello, thanks for joining us. Here's what's on the programme this evening.
Having faith in Southport, community leaders from all backgrounds come together a month after riots broke out across the country in the wake of the Southport attack.
From this place of darkness that we saw in Southport just a few weeks ago, we're going to start projecting this place of light.
A nursery worker who threatened to knock out a crying baby and pushed another child over is jailed for 3 years for ill-treating 4 children.
Finding their voice, how speaking up about their treatment is helping men with cancer.
A lovely day for a run on the beach. The Lifesavers running 200 miles to mark 200 years of the RNLI.
There's nobody, no house, no car. There's like a love. Ooh.
She's one of Liverpool's favourite songbirds. Now she's back on home turf. Rebecca Ferguson will be here to tell us all about her plans for a Christmas show in the city.
And there was some much needed sunshine here in the northwest on Saturday. It's evaded us a little bit today. Any better news for the next few days? I'll have the full forecast later on.
So please stay with us for all of that. We begin tonight's programme in Southport, where there is a message of hope a month after riots spread across the country in the days after the killings of 3 young girls.
As we know, Elsie Stancombe, BB King and Alice Da Silva Aguirre all lost their lives in the attack on a holiday dance class.
Today, leaders from the Muslim, Jewish and Christian communities came together once again for a walk around the town and to share a meal. Their aim to show that the hate that followed that awful day will not win.
Well, our reporter Andrew Fletcher was there.
Just over a month ago, Southport Mosque was attacked by rioters. Today, it was the starting point for a walk of unity through the town. People of different faiths coming together to show solidarity against the extremists who'd sought to divide them. They walked from the mosque to the synagogue, Muslim, Jewish and Christian faith leaders braving the rain that signals the end of a summer in which this community has gone through so much. The tragic killings of schoolgirls Elsie Stancombe, BB King and Alice Da Silva Aguirre, followed by violent disorder fuelled by misinformation over the killings.
Gather round and please come into the hall.
At Southport Synagogue, the faith and community leaders shared a meal and a message.
Important because people who attack one community or one minority, or they are trying to attack people by themselves. Even if there is something to divide us, we still are able to sit down, have a cup of tea, have a sandwich, have a talk and have a civil words to each other.
It's important for all of us in Southport, people of faith and people of no faith, to come together and show that, you know, what we have in common is more than what divides us, to show that what happened in Southport doesn't represent Southport, who we are as a town, who we are as people, who we are as faith communities. Actually, what represents us is something like today.
The president of the Board of Deputies of British Jews had travelled to Southport for the event. As the riots spread from this town around the country, so he hopes today's unity event will be repeated in other parts of the UK.
What I hope we're going to do is, from this place of darkness that we saw in Southport just a few weeks ago, we're going to start projecting this place of light and build that optimistic alliance both here in Southport and around the country.
For the town's mayor, today's unity event was another example of the community spirit that has exemplified this town's response to tragedy.
I think it'll definitely continue. I think that, you know, there's going to be funds in there for anybody who needs it. There's going to be time for people to reflect when they want to, for the families to tell us. We'll be led by them how they see the future. And I just think this is going to just get better and better, to be honest with you. I don't see it going. We're not going to go back. We're going to go forward all the way now.
Andrew Fletcher, ITV News in Southport.
Well, today the mother of one of Britain's youngest criminals involved in those riots has been summoned by a judge after missing her 12-year-old son's court appearance to go on holiday to Ibiza. District Judge Joanne Hurst told Magistrates Court she was, quote, frankly astonished that the boy's mother had decided to fly abroad for a 5-day sunshine break With her son due in court having admitted 2 counts of violent disorder, the sentencing of the boy, who can't be named for legal reasons, was postponed to later this month.
Well, next, a nursery worker who threatened to knock out a crying baby and pushed another child over has been jailed for 3 years for ill-treating 4 children. Rebecca Gregory, who's 25, worked at the Tiny Toes nursery in Stockport.
It comes just months after another worker, Kate Ruffley, was sentenced for the manslaughter of Genevieve Meehan at the same nursery. It's since been taken over by new owners and it's been given a new name.
None of the children ill-treated by Gregory suffered injuries. She was sentenced today after earlier pleading guilty. Our reporter Anna Youssef joins us in the studio now. Anna, what more can you tell us?
Well, Mel, I was in court today and we were shown some incredibly harrowing footage of Rebecca Gregory harming 4 children, 4 babies who were meant to be in her care. Now, this footage was discovered while police were carrying out an investigation into the nursery following the death of 9-month-old Genevieve Meehan. That investigation ultimately led to the conviction of another nursery worker for her manslaughter. All the offences that Gregory pleaded guilty to took part on one day, a few weeks actually before Genevieve died. The footage showed her swaddling a baby, placing them on their front with a dummy in their mouth, and then putting a blanket over their head. When the baby kept on lifting their head up, you could see that she was forcibly pushing it back on the ground and then threatened to kick the child. On another occasion, she's holding a baby who's been tightly swaddled and then pulls the blanket off them. You can see the child actually spinning in the air, and then the baby lands with a thud on the ground and, of course, starts crying in distress. There's another moment when she screams at a child, "What's the point of your existence? And do you want me to knock you out?" Throughout the course of the day, she's seen being incredibly aggressive to the children and handling them roughly. Her defence said that while she admitted her behaviour was inexcusable and despicable, there was no evidence that this was a pattern of behaviour. Now, actually, on the day of these offences, Gregory said that she'd gone to management complaining that the nursery was understaffed, but they had told her to get on with it. She was actually only meant to be looking after 3 babies on that day. In fact, she was responsible for the care of 12 at one stage.
It sounds utterly horrific, Anna. What did the judge say?
Well, sentencing her, Honourable Judge Landale pointed out that Gregory was a trusted, experienced, qualified member of staff who'd actually worked at the nursery since she was 17. At the time of the offences, she was 22 and was working in the baby room where, of course, the youngest, most vulnerable children were. Parents trusted her to look after their children kindly and safely. Instead, the judge said, "You were abusive and neglectful, exposing them to the risk of serious harm. You had professional responsibility for these babies. You treated them in a cruel and dangerous way. And they were particularly vulnerable because they couldn't speak and tell anybody what was happening." Gregory was jailed for 3 years. She's also been banned from working with children and vulnerable people.
Anna, thank you.
Next, Lisa Nandy has hit out at so-called dynamic pricing after Oasis fans were hit with vastly inflated ticket prices. It comes after frustrated fans of the Manchester band spent hours trying to secure tickets to the reunion tour, only to be hit with huge price hikes. The Culture Secretary says the policy is depressing and promised surge pricing will be included in a government review.
One of the features of this particular case was that many of those Oasis fans had no idea when they entered the system that a dynamic pricing model was in use. They thought that they were going to pay one price for a ticket, only to get to the front of the queue and find that they were paying hundreds of pounds more that many of them couldn't afford. Now, we think there's clearly a problem there, and so we'll be consulting over the autumn about the changes that are needed.
Daniel Moore, the lead singer of the band Crazy P, has died at the age of 52. Today, the band posted on their social media pages to confirm she died in sudden and tragic circumstances on Friday afternoon. They said Danielle, who was from Manchester, lived a life driven by love, compassion, community and music.
Actor Sir Ian McKellen, who grew up in Greater Manchester, has said he's taking the rest of the year off after injuring himself in June. The 85-year-old broke his wrist and chipped a vertebrae when he fell off the stage on the West End. But the Lord of the Rings star told ITV News he's certainly not retiring, and after a bit more rest, will be back on set with another project.
What I'm left with now is the emotional memory of the accident, which was more severe than I realised. I was saying and shouting things about death and so on. I thought I was on the way out.
Men across the northwest are being urged to open up and talk if they are faced with a cancer diagnosis.
Every year, almost 23,000 men in our part of the world are diagnosed with cancer, and the charity Maggies say feelings of guilt and embarrassment can be common.
The charity are running regular men's support groups to try and improve both their emotional and mental health.
Well, Chris Conway has been to one of their sessions at the Maggies Centre in Oldham to find out more.
Plus the fact you're topping it up with a bit of radiation as well.
It's a session that is powerful and poignant, a chance to open up and seek support, a chance to share something personal and unique to each of these men, their journey with cancer.
Even though you get a pretty poor prognosis from the medical teams, I meet other people who've been through treatments and have done very well.
When you walk out of that door at the end of it, you're up there.
If you're feeling, down, you've got people here who can support you.
One of those taking part is James, who's had a number of episodes of mouth cancer over the past 24 years. Extensive reconstructive facial surgery ended his career as a nurse. For him, talking about his cancer became part of his treatment.
In 2015, as it was a stage 4, they then had to remove the internal oblique muscle from this side and the iliac crest of the hip to make a new chin, and the muscle went in to make a new gum. I think the second operation had quite a big mental impact on me, and it took me a while to really get over that.
James benefited from the support of Maggies Cancer charity and the team at their centre in the grounds of Oldham Hospital. With almost 23,000 men in the northwest diagnosed with cancer every year, the charity stands ready to help. It comes as research from Maggies shows almost a fifth of men initially felt embarrassed about their diagnosis, with nearly a quarter admitting to feeling lonely or isolated. Perhaps more worryingly, more than 2/5 of those surveyed said they'd not asked for support after being told they had cancer.
Some men just feel that they have to be strong, or they see it as being strong and not talking about things, whereas actually talking about things would really help them.
David was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2019. With his cancer now spreading to his lungs, he's urging men to be more open.
I was embarrassed, but I think I was more embarrassed for the people that I was telling, because some people didn't receive it very well. Some people didn't even think men could get breast cancer. It's important to talk right from the very beginning and don't be embarrassed. 2 minutes of maybe of an awkward conversation or an awkward examination and it's gone, but don't leave it to chance.
While tea and cake may not solve all of their problems, it helps break down barriers for this group of men to continue bonding. United by cancer, they say they want to show others what they've discovered, that it's good to talk. Chris Conway, ITV News.
Tea and cake's good, and it's something that's so important to talk about.
Such an important message, yeah. Now, the Royal National Lifeboat Institution began way back in 1824. Not only does the charity provide lifeboats to keep our coastlines safe, there's also an army of lifeguards ready to take to the water at a moment's notice.
And to mark the 200th anniversary of the RNLI, lifeguards on the Wirral are holding their own special event to mark the occasion, as Paul Crone discovered.
Today was a very different shift for these Wirral lifeguards, not braving the cold waters of the Mersey by swimming out to save someone in need, but running on the prom at New Brighton. The seaside lifesavers are taking part in a 200-mile relay to mark the RNLI's 200th anniversary in 5-mile individual stages along the seafront, all in a day's work for the lifeguards.
I feel like even though it's a job, it's very like free. Like it's like a lot of freedom. And then when you're actually seeing someone in danger and you go to go save them, it's just really like heartwarming stuff.
The RNLI Wirral Lifeguards provide safety cover for 6 beaches on the peninsula during the summer months. Working from Easter to September, they never know what their next call-out might be.
The tidal range on the Mersey is the second largest in the country, and people see the tide out and don't realise that it's going to be upon them within 10 minutes. It's rapid, the tide on this coastline. It's really dangerous.
I'd always check the tide times before you go. Always carry a means of calling for help as well, and then if you find yourself in difficulty, call 999 and ask for the Coast Guard.
Part of being a lifeguard involves being able to swim 400 metres in 7.5 minutes and also being able to swim underwater for 25 metres and then sprint swim back. Impressive stuff. The Wirral Lifeguards are hoping to raise over £2,000 for the RNLI on their run in, let's be honest, less than kind conditions. So what does it take to be a good lifeguard?
I'd say confidence, being able to talk to the public and being trusting, because if you can trust someone else out there, then they know they can trust you.
So as good as you are at a lifeguard, how are we at a 5-mile run?
Me at the moment, I'm carrying an injury, and you know I'm carrying an injury. So I'm not doing no 5-mile run today, but I'm here supporting my team.
The 200-mile relay is due to finish tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m, unless, of course, they get called out to swap running trainers for swim shorts. Paul Crone, ITV News.
Oh, well done. Good stuff. Not quite the weather for
no, not quite sunny California, is it? No. On to sport now, and we're celebrating more Northwest Paralympic champions. Here's Chris.
Yeah, an incredible 4 gold medals to celebrate from the weekend. Our Northwest athletes covering themselves in glory at the Paris Paralympics. Greg Stevenson, the rower from Colne in Lancashire, ended up on top of the podium after winning the final of the mixed double sculls with partner Lauren Rowles. Middlewich swimmer Poppy Maskill won her 2nd gold of these games in the mixed freestyle relay. She also took a silver in the 200-metre freestyle. And there must be something in the water in Chester with 2 champions from there to cheer. First, Amy Truesdale became the first British athlete to win gold in para-taekwondo. Her celebration was pretty impressive too. And then Sabrina Fortune, also from Chester, won gold in the shot put after landing a world record distance of 15 metres 12 in her very first throw. Even she was stunned.
Oh my God. What did I just do? I was so amazed, but I wanted to celebrate then, and I was like, I can't. I have 5 more throws I've got to do yet. So you see my arms go up, and I'm like, oh wait. Crazy. It's like a dream. Like, I can't really put into words how happy and how proud of myself I am.
Burnley were held to a draw in the Lancashire derby. They took the lead after just 10 minutes at Turf Moor, but Blackburn Rovers fought back to make it 1-1 and secure a share of the points. Both clubs sit in the top 6 of the Championship. Elsewhere, Preston lost, while in League One, Stockport dropped their first points of the season with a 1-1 draw at Mansfield. Wigan and Bolton both lost, but Blackpool came from behind twice to draw 2-2 with Wycombe Wanderers. Barrow's strong start to League Two continued with a 1-0 win at Harrogate. Tranmere Rovers are still unbeaten after their 2-1 win at Carlisle. Crewe earned their first win of the season with an injury-time 2-1 win at Bromley. There were defeats for Morecambe and Fleetwood, but Accrington managed a 1-1 draw with Colchester.
Finally tonight, to the singer coming home for a Christmas gig.
Rebecca Ferguson, who first found fame on X Factor, will headline Liverpool's M&S Bank Arena in December.
Today, she sat down with Victoria Grimes in her hometown for a very intimate gig.
And nobody know how slow car is like a love. La, 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 la. La, 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 la.
Rebecca, a private gig. What a way to start a Monday morning.
I felt like I was a bit early to be singing, to be honest. I was like having to have a good old warm-up, but I managed to get through it. Yeah.
Did you have to get up early to do a few extra gargles and stuff?
Yeah, I was up early, to be fair. Well, the baby has me up early, so I'm always up early, but yeah, I was like, early, that is early singing.
So how is the baby? How's he doing?
He's good, yeah, he's cute, busy, keeps me very busy, but I just love being a mum. I'm loving, I'm in my healing stage in my life, I think, where, I went through all that trauma with the music industry, it's well documented, but I feel like now I'm in this lovely space where I'm just healing and happy.
Let's talk about that a bit, because you have been through an incredibly traumatic time with your work and your campaign to have more regulation within the music industry to protect young artists in the future. Why has that been so important to you?
It just needed to happen. I think it was quite late, actually. Come on, it's 2024. Music industry needs a regulatory body, and finally we've got one, and I'm glad I campaigned. And it really taught me that you should use your voice. Use your voice. Don't think that you're not, how can I put it, important enough that you can make change. You just use your voice.
And you're getting an MBE. Hello, Rebecca Ferguson, MBE. Nice to have you with us today on Granada Reports. Congratulations, this is fantastic.
Do you know what? It came at the most lovely time. So the beginning of the year, me dad sadly passed, and it was just, when you have one of those start of the years that's just a bit rubbish, and then that letter came, and it was just like someone was shining down on me. It was so lovely.
Tell us about this Christmas show, because it's going to be pretty special, isn't it?
So yeah, I'm performing on the 14th of December, and the plan is that it'll be a yearly concert, big Christmas gig where we invite a lot of local talent, a lot of local celebrities from Liverpool and Manchester, and we just put on a real good show. So I'll be singing some of my songs from my albums, some Christmas songs, so other performers will be doing their big songs.
Have you got a Christmas song out in December as well?
Yeah.
You're turning into Mrs. Christmas,
I know,
aren't you?
I'm turning into Mrs. Christmas. I worked on it throughout this year, and yeah, it's all right, which was quite fun to do and weird though, in the middle of the summer, singing Christmas songs. It was a bit weird.
Did you have to record a video as well?
So we haven't done that yet, but that's going to be quite fun. I'm thinking, because what I want to do is just go to a pub, say to everyone, right, drinks are on me, if you want to be in the video, you can be in it, which most people I think will say, drinks are on you, love. I'm there.
If you're offering a bevy, then yeah, they are. I'll come and sit in the background. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, we'll see you at Christmas. See you at Christmas.
Yeah, see you at Christmas.
See you at Christmas.
Yeah.
And no money, no house, no car is like love.
Sounds like it's going to be a great gig.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Now, it's definitely feeling a bit autumnal out there, isn't it? Any last-minute summer sun coming our way? Let's find out from Joe.
Mum, wet wipes, toilet or bin?
Bin. Why?
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thank you. A very good evening to you. Initially a bit of a humid start to the week, but it'll be freshening up through tonight and for tomorrow. Showers never too far away, though, over the next few days. And into this weekend, humidity's on the rise again, and we'll see the risk of thundery downpours increasing. If we take a look, low pressure very much in charge. This is the fresher air moving in through tomorrow, but it will tend to be replaced by slightly warmer, more humid conditions as we approach this weekend. Back to this evening, showers will tend to peter out before midnight, leaving behind some low cloud, mistiness, perhaps some fog on Transpennine routes before tomorrow morning. But winds are swinging round to a northwesterly, so it's a little bit fresher by dawn and mostly dry here in the northwest, with temperatures down to around 10 or 11 Celsius overnight tonight. On to tomorrow's details, and first of all, the sun times. It'll be rising at 6:24, setting at 5 to 8 tomorrow evening. Perhaps a cloudy start, but brightening up pretty quickly tomorrow, and we'll see some decent sunshine on offer. Not a bad day at all, a fresher feel with just below average temperatures, but it should be dry. Cloud will build just a touch from the west into the Isle of Man later on in the day, and temperature-wise 18, maybe 19 Celsius is the best we can expect, but in the sunshine, not feeling too bad.
Looking ahead, and it will be rather more unsettled as we head through the rest of the week, with showers expected during Wednesday. And then for Thursday, increasingly we'll see more cloudy and damp conditions, with humidity on the rise once more from Friday into the weekend, and the threat of a few heavy thundery downpours ahead. Enjoy your evening. Bye-bye for now.
Cleaned up well.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thank you, Joe. 21 by Friday. Gotta love that.
Yep.
That is it from us this evening. I'll be back with the late news straight after news at 10.
For now, from all of us here, thanks for watching. Good night.
Bye-bye. Some sun.